Welcome back, everybody. I am Marilyn Burnett, your astrologer, back with the messages for the week of July 22nd, 2024, which is the day following a pretty big, powerful full moon in Capricorn. And of course, I'm recording this before that even happens. So we shall see where we're at this week. Make sure you go back and listen to last week's if you have not done that yet, to get some idea on what this big full moon in Capricorn was about for you, what transformation is about to take place, and what work you still have to do. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and please remember to click on the subscribe button below and like, follow, make comments so that I know what else I can do for you. And if you haven't gone out there yet, go to my website, marilybrunette.com. That's where I keep all of my videos, my articles, all of my free resources for you. And you'll see the article out there for, of course, the full moon in Capricorn if you want to go back and read that or get prepared for the next upcoming new moon. All of that information, as well as the monthly horoscopes and forecasts, are out there ahead of time for you to review and get prepared as well. All right, so it is a pretty powerful week as we get started. There are serious power struggles ahead, so we're gonna jump right in and take a close look at each day. And as you know, I use Astro Gold, so that's what I have pulled up on the screen in front of you. I'll cover the major transits that are going on. For more details, for a written breakdown, of course, go look at the July horoscope that I have out on my website as well. So let's get started with Monday. And as I mentioned, it's a big powerhouse. So as we had the full moon on Sunday, we saw the sun at 29 degrees of Cancer. And now on Monday, we start Leo season. So the sun has now moved into the sign of Leo. Well, the Cancer sign is loving and caring and nurturing and very sensitive and intuitive. Leo's a lot more fun. It's fire energy. It's more passion. And Leo likes to have a good time. Leo energy is more on stage. So as the sun shines a light from the sign of Leo, you are seeing where you may need to be more on stage in your presence. So that is a shift. And anytime we have a shift or change in energy, we feel it because it's new and different. The sun's our inner self, our success. So the issue on Monday is a bit of an ego battle because the sun is going to face off against Pluto. So it's the one against the many. And I'm sure this is political in nature. I'm sure we're going to be having lots of conversations on what the way forward should be. This Pluto energy is the energy of death and rebirth and transformation. And in the sign of Aquarius, this could be the transformation of the power that a group has. It's in retrograde, so we could be back over something that happened in January of this year that we need to review. In your personal chart, of course, it depends on where this face-off is happening as well, but you should feel some tension. Now, Pluto's tension can be more psychological in nature, so it could just be something heavy weighing on your mind. But the thing that's also happening is that Pluto is speaking in harmony with Mars. So both of these planets have some rulership over the sign of Scorpio. So this is definitely a really, really big power struggle. It could be something that is causing you to change your mind, causing you to take a different action, because Mars is now in the sign of Gemini, which has us seeing two sides of things. It also has us having very vocal conversations that are fiery and passionate in nature. So just get ready for more of the same. And unfortunately, from a political perspective, we are going to have drama all the way up to and through and even after the election because of the fact that we will have Pluto sitting at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and that begins September 2nd. So there is a lot of work ahead of us. This is the final work for the sign of Capricorn, and it's putting an end to the work that we've been doing for the past 20 years, this restructuring of what, government looks like. The fear that we allow governments to create in our lives, and what are we going to do about it? Because I always say Pluto energy, while it can bring up fear, especially psychologically, the point is not to make you more fearful. The point is for you to face it, because most of it is made up. I'm not talking about danger, right? We're talking about fear. And fear is something that isn't real. It's usually created in our head because of what somebody else is saying to us. But unless you have proof, don't buy in to it. So there is something major. And again, it is probably started already at the time of this full moon, which happens on the 21st in the sign of Capricorn at 29 degrees, which is a critical anaretic degree, while Pluto has just stepped back into the 0 degree, which is seeing something brand new. So the ending, whatever ends for you, creates a new beginning. But that new beginning requires work. And that work is what's going to show up in a big way beginning in September. But we still have the whole month of August to get through, and it is really intriguing as well. So be sure you go out and read my August forecast, especially that new moon in Leo, which is pretty fascinating. It includes a yod, and it tells me that some woman is going to have an important leadership role, and maybe a bit unexpectedly or in an unexpected way. So be sure to watch for that. All right. The other energy that, of course, we're looking at is this Mars conversation with the sun is still going on. And we have just gotten past a difficult conversation between Mercury in Leo and Uranus. So this can be a shocking surprise, shocking information, and whatever we learn requires a change to be made. That is not going to be a dull summer. That is all I have to say about all of that. The other thing is right now, speaking of Mercury, Mercury has become what we call pre-shadow. So we're really needing to pay attention between now and August 4th, because that is the new moon and it's the day that Mercury also will go retrograde. So whatever you're expecting out of your new moon intentions, those new beginnings in Leo, it won't be something that happens overnight. It's something that you're going to have to really think about. You're going to have to go over the details really carefully. You're going to have to spend time doing it. As I mentioned, there's a yod in there at the time with Venus in Leo as she speaks awkwardly with Pluto and Neptune. So your faith is going to be tested. And this woman figure is your guide through the work. I'm intrigued as always, so we shall see. But this is a good time to keep track of things, to keep a journal, and to pay attention to the house that you have Mercury in Leo at 27 degrees, and it will travel through to, I believe it's 4 degrees of Virgo. So we have some space in here, and it's going to cover 2 different perspectives, right? So Leo, the loud lion male energy, and Virgo, the healing, gentle woman, right? So we have 2 different perspectives that we're going to see that we need to be delving into more deeply. All right, so that is Monday. I'm going to move us ahead to Tuesday. And you'll notice no major shifts or changes, still the connection with the sun with Mars, with Pluto, it is lessening, but it's still there and existing. And then we're going to move on into Wednesday, where we have more activity. So on Wednesday, this is Mercury at the end of its Leo journey. So remember, Mercury is our thoughts, communication, can be movement, transportation, learning, language, right? So language has been a big deal when it's in the sign of Leo. And as it moves into Virgo, it becomes much more controlled. So does information, right? So there's a shift that's about to happen. And it can happen in a weird way because of the fact that Mercury's making this inconjunct angle down to Neptune and Pisces, which of course is retrograde and is speaking still in harmony with Pluto, where these two are going to be speaking for years because they both move so slowly. But it's supportive, this energy, as these two planets that rule things that are hidden and beneath the surface. So we might learn something very strange and unexpected on Wednesday as a result of the interaction between these planets. Then we also see the sun now strongly connected to Mars. So there is some major activity. Again, it could be an announcement. It could be arguing, but it's supportive, right? So this could be somebody who comes out in support of a leader and speaks up strongly and on their behalf. So that gets to be pretty interesting. And this isn't like a one and done conversation because the sun and Mars will pretty much march together most of the week very closely. So you've got two fire elements coming together. That makes this bigger than you can even imagine. Could make the temperatures for the week of July 22nd extremely hot as well. So just be prepared for that type of activity. And again, it's going to be an intense week. There's just no way around it. When we have planets sitting at 29 degrees, and we have pre-shadow of a retrograde that always impacts us, there's lots of stuff is coming up. Lots of conversations are being had. And again, I ask you to trust your intuition and don't buy into the drama. All right. But it's going to get weird, so get ready. It's going to get way weirder before it gets better. All right. Speaking of more kind of weird things, on Thursday, we have a yod. So a yod, it's the finger of God, a mission from God. It's work that you need to do. And it's always created by one planet. This happens to be Mercury at 29 degrees of Leo, so a critical degree. This is critical information, critical conversations, something involving a leader, maybe a younger leader, right? Mercury's youthful energy. Leo is a lion, right? And that planet is where the finger's pointing, right? So this person needs to do something, and in order to do what they need to do, including you, wherever this is showing up in your chart, they need the help of this Pluto energy. So it's something you have to face your fears about. There's something you have to use your power for, to speak to this group of people, to create this incredible amount of change, and to have faith, right? Pluto is speaking in harmony with Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So Neptune is faith, right? It's creativity, it's music, it's also deception. So this person may be needed to expose something that has happened that is deceptive, right? So there's all kinds of ways this can show up. You want to take a look where you have this mission in your own chart and what it is that you need to do. Of course, it's brief, so it will be noticeable on Thursday, and then boom, Mercury's going to move off of here. And the yod's usually only active when it's within a couple of degrees. So the more exact a yod is, the more intense. So Thursday will be an intense day. We have a lesson to learn here. On Friday, that yod is starting to break apart, but we do still see now Mercury, as I mentioned, is now in the sign of Virgo. Now, Mercury rules Virgo. This is its second home. And when Mercury's in Virgo, it is exposing all the details. It is creating a lot of control around whatever conversation started. So it can be very OCD. It's a good time for cleaning. It's a good time for purging. Anytime the planets change signs, again, we have intense energy going on, and the 0 invites us to learn something new, to gain a new perspective. Maybe it's a new perspective on health, right? Virgo rules health. So there could be information about health that we learn from this young, youthful person. At the same time as that is happening, we have Venus in Leo, of course, which is speaking in harmony with the moon in Aries. So there's something about our emotions that are pretty fired up because Venus is in a fire sign, the moon is in a fire sign. Both of these planets, technically one's a luminary, the moon, invoke feeling and emotion. So there's something that we need to respond to. And that's what we have the help of these two entities working to help us express how we feel. And then, as I mentioned, we've still got the sun marching along with Mars. So whatever this is, it's escalating, right? It's building. They are supporting one another as this energy marches forward. And then Pluto moves slowly, right? We've got between the end of July until September 2nd before it'll get through this 0 degree of Aquarius. And that whole time, it's going to speak with Neptune at that 29 degree of Pisces. All right. The last piece on Friday is, again, this strange conversation that's going on between Saturn, of course, it's retrograde in the sign of Pisces, and this Venus in Leo energy. So it's a conversation, again, between a woman in a leadership role with her mentor, maybe that is, maybe it's strained, maybe it's unexpected having this conversation, or maybe this is an older person that is helping this woman in some way. And older because it's Saturn. Pisces would be somebody who's, extremely sensitive. It could be, maybe this is music related, and it could be something to do with the music industry. But whatever the conversation is, it's not straightforward. It's not direct. It's an inconjunct energy, which is a 150 degree angle, which makes this conversation odd or difficult. Maybe it's shocking and surprising in some way. Now, remember, Saturn in Pisces is trying to help teach us how to hold good boundaries, right? Water is boundaryless. So Saturn's here to show you how to contain and control your emotions, how to contain and control your intuition, right? How to use it effectively, how to create a plan, right? This could be something to do with a leader overseas, right? Pisces is things that are hidden, large organizations, very far away places like spirit and the other side. So it's definitely going to be an interesting dialogue added into all the rest that are going on, but definitely something significant. Now, I would caution you, let's say you have your first date on this day. That wouldn't be the best romantic partner for you because this person's always going to want to have some kind of control over you. So, word to the wise. You don't want to be in a relationship with Saturn. It's a lot of work. All right, so that is Friday, and we can transition and look a little bit at the weekend, but don't expect there to be much activity. But let's review that here. That nothing new is happening through the weekend. We still have that in conjunct with Mercury. We still have the conversation between the Sun and Mars, but now the Sun is starting to separate, so that intensity can start to separate as well. The moon moves into its home sign of Taurus for the weekend. So we might really be indulging the senses over the weekend. Might be a time for comfort food because it's been a stressful week and we need it. That's certainly a possibility as well. And then as we move into Sunday, same thing. We don't have any new energies, and you see all the lines are beginning to fade, and that means that that energy is starting to fade as well. But of course it's not gone, but it is less noticeable. So that's it. That's the whole week. If we want to take a look just briefly at next week, you're going to see more in the way of this blue supportive energy for the week ahead. Again, there's some things that can move, and then there's others that just slowly move forward. But I think Tuesday will be an interesting day. We have the moon having a conversation in Gemini with both Mars and Jupiter. So again, something about our intuition, something about how we feel is, coming up in a pretty big way. And the other thing that you'll notice through the week, and of course we'll talk about it more in next week's video, is we're going to start to see Mars having conversation with the nodes. And that brings fated events, right? So fated action, information again coming to the surface. Could be information about the war, could be information about weapons and arms. Something fated, right, is brought to the surface at that time. So that's happening with the nodes. The moon's going to square the nodes. Venus is going to square Uranus. We still got stuff going on. It's not calming down. Everybody goes, when's it going to calm down? I'm like, not this year. We got stuff we got to complete before these new cycles start in 2025, which is going to see huge shifts and changes for all of us. So if you want to know more specifically about all of these powerhouse events and how they're going to affect you and your chart, you'll want to book a session with me. And I am going to offer a Christmas in July special. So you want to check my website for my special offer, because I have a huge discount on my 1-hour readings, which would give us a good amount of time to look at all of these upcoming events. So be sure and check that out. You might want to buy a few. I mean, we've got all of this coming up. Plus, we have eclipse season that starts in mid-September. So as I mentioned, things are going to continue to be wild and crazy up and through the end of the year. So just get ready, join with the energy and figure out how to use it in your favor instead of getting blindsided. All right, that is all for me for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing. Thanks for visiting my website, and thanks for your support. I really, truly appreciate it. Even though my channel is small and mighty, I still love what I'm doing and sharing the information with those of you who show up to listen to it. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Be sure and check out your weekly tarot card messages as well. Those, along with this astro lesson, are going to give you the big picture. Thanks again for tuning in. Talk to you next week.